All right. So, hello everybody. This is Anna from Captain Hobbes and the Astrocats, and today I am coming back to you with a brand new AI tool that I've been very curious about for about 7 months now. I stumbled upon this by accident on YouTube. I was researching some AI capability, and this one kept popping up. And actually, recently they have been accelerating their advertisement. So I stumbled upon them, and I've been looking at videos and stuff, and I go, you know what? Now that I completed this 3 minute video, I'm ready to pretty much elevate these projects up. So I was willing to invest a little bit of coin to see what this tool can do. So, but before we get started, you guys know the drill. We have our own webpage. We are on YouTube. We're on Threads. We're on Instagram. We're on Blue Sky, and we're also on Facebook. I do my best to monitor all the pages, but again, it's a lot of social media on top of my other channels, so please bear with me. So yes, we are not on X. I no longer have access to that account, nor do I manage it. And the other account, we do not have a TikTok account. I know a couple of my friends are telling me I need to try TikTok, but again, until they can figure out if they're going away or not, I just don't feel investing time on something that could just poof and disappear. I just don't have the energy for it. All right. So right out of the bat, I guess today's going to be more of a review of the quick things that I've learned on this program. Like again, the production stuff, I will be pushing that to the Patreon. There is a Patreon as well, so I'll show you guys right here. We are on Patreon, and a lot of the detailed videos, I've been posting them here where I talk about the behind the scenes, like the raw footage, all that is on here. I'm still trying to figure out when to release them on YouTube because I'm trying to be fair that if you're a subscriber, you get early access. But I'm sure like later on, probably like in a month or two, then I'll push that onto YouTube. But for right now, this is Patreon only content. Okay. So right out of the bat, when you are using Meshi and you are looking to a subscription, they start you with 50 tokens. Now, on average, everything in this platform is a la carte, meaning everything you do, like if you want to do a model, that's 10 tokens. If you wanted to add textures, that's 10 tokens. So it's literally a la carte. It's like pay as you play kind of situation. It's not a big deal. But just so you are aware, that's how this platform performs. Now, when you decide to go into your subscription, please be careful because I automatically, immediately almost made the mistake where, let me see if I can go to the plans. Let me see if I can go right here. Okay, when you go to the plans right here, by default, the page goes to yearly, okay? So make sure if you don't want to invest that much money in it, which is close to $200, by the way, after taxes, make sure that you have it on monthly. What ended up happening to me is that I was trying to pick the monthly and then my page refreshed and I didn't pay attention that it reverted back to yearly. So when I paid with PayPal, it pulled out for the whole year when that was not my intention. I did reach out to the Meshi team, and unfortunately they did inform me that once you pay, if you're paying through PayPal, which I did, you are not able to switch between monthly and yearly. So food for thought. Now I got very lucky. I explained my situation to the gentleman, and after I told him, it's like, hey, I appreciate, you letting me know that, I didn't. This is not like published. This is something that, unless you go right here, you have to go all collections billing refund. You have to really go really deep into their pages. It's not until you're in this situation that you realize, oh crap, I am stuck. And I did, the gentleman that I talked to, I go, hey, sir, I made an honest mistake. Can you help me? He sent me this, and I literally wrote him back. I go, hey, sir, I appreciate, sir, man, because I don't know who I'm talking to. I appreciate you taking the time to respond back. It seems that I am stuck because I paid with PayPal. Completely understandable. It's okay. I'll make sure to warn my social circles and my social media about this situation. And Lord and behold, they were able to refund me my money. But I still went back and I re-enrolled just for the monthly because it is almost impossible to do anything on here with just 50 tokens. You get like a little taste of it and that's it. And it requires more than 50 tokens to kind of really play around with this. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, so right off the bat, you get on here and it's really cool. You have all these like pre-made like, models, and you're like, oh man, this is gonna be amazing and all that stuff. Now, some of you guys who have seen my videos, I am at this point, it looks easy, but it's not, especially if you have pre-made assets and you're trying to keep the continuity going, and Meshi is no exception to this rule. It understands if you're making it AI within the system, and then from the system you're trying to build something from that, but if it's something external, something that you made, trying to bring it in, trying to keep it consistent, completely different ballpark and a completely different to approach it. Now, right at the bat, when you go in here, you have text to 3D, image to 3D, which is mostly what I'm using, AI texturing, and text to image. Okay? We'll talk about these as I go through. So this is pretty much mostly what I've been dabbling in. You can see right here all my experiments. So by default, when you log in, they give you like some of these really basic, like, here's the little cowboy guy, this is for animation. Here's what it looks like, a basic Glock, probably a Glock 17 or a 19. Right here you have like a wizard's hat. Here's some, really cool what's it called, World of Warcraft type weaponry. It's got that, and then you got like all these little DeviantArt, like demon things. So it's got some good potential. And right here, here's the background. So this is probably something that I'll be looking further into. And again, this is meant to be to expedite the process of production, especially if you're doing gaming where you're making a lot of assets. So I said, you know what? Let's bring it on. Okay. So right at the bat, I unfortunately made the mistake where I wasn't thinking, I'm going, you know what, I want to try this. So I tried the usual Scully image that we have right here. And when I brought it in, what it does is it actually gives you 4 versions of the model. Okay, right out of the bat, not too bad. Now, I did get trained on 3D at one point in my career. I stayed away from it because, to be honest, I just don't have the patience for 3D. There's just so much that can go wrong, especially when you spend so much time modeling, rigging, waiting. Like, there is so much that goes into it. And granted, it's gotten easier since 25 years ago. My PTSD still triggers every time I go into 3D. Like, my brain goes, I still enjoy it. It just feels like a lot for my brain. I just want to get it done and move forward. Anyway, so these are the models that it generated. And I'm looking at these, and like we can see this one right here, there's a hole in the background. And as you can see, the image is fairly clean. I did it in vector art. They're very like lean lines. And I was looking through these, and you could look at the fingers. This is like really crazy. Like the fingers are like all janky and stuff. And it also 3D modeled the little icons right here in line. So right out of the bat, I made a mistake. And I'm looking at this model. It's like, okay, this looks okay from one angle, like right there, this angle for this model. That looks pretty close. But, again, this was me dipping my toe into the kiddie pool, so I'm just like, it's kind of okay. So then I went to our mouse character. Let me find the mouse character real quick. And give me one second. And this was Janitor Mouse, and he was from the first or second audio clip that we did. Assets, character, Janitor Mouse. Okay, let me find him real quick. I just found him. Give me a second. Boop. Okay, so there's Janitor Mouse right here, and I go, okay, let me test this out. Let me see what it does. Because at first I thought the character was too complicated, so I went with a more simplified version of the character. So here is the mouse, and it looks okay from this angle right here. But as you can see, like this one's the best one out of all of them. But when you go to the back, like it's got like extra butts. There's like the tail is broken off. Like, so I'm like, okay, so it cannot handle weird angle characters. So it cannot handle designs that are 3/4 view. It's pretty much what I was immediately seeing just from these 2 tests. Now, I went back to Scully. So I went back to Scully. And what I did is I did just an image of him without the little stars. I just want to see if it improved the model. And it did okay. Like this one wasn't too bad, but you can see it added a backpack back there for some reason. So that's no good. This one right here is okay, but the mouth looks kind of crazy, and like, okay. Then there's this one right here. This one was probably one of the better ones, if I may be frank. And I think at the end I went with this guy right here. Yeah, this is the one that I went with. So now keep in mind that when you go into Meshi, you have 5.0 and then like 4.0. And at this point, I'm still testing around. Now, a couple things to bring up. If you try the free version and you put a model, you cannot set it in private. So you can see, like, because these are characters that we are solely working with, I wanted to make sure that when I publish this, this is not CC, so people, Creative Commons, that is not the case. So when I was starting to test this, I made sure that these are private. The people do not have the authority to use these models because we are this, so, we own this property. This is our IP. So we don't want people to just go out there and do whatever they want with these characters. So at the bat, this is one of the valuable things about this subscription. You can make it private and no one else will have access to this. Now, if you decide to cancel, and I even searched this, if you decide to cancel your account, anything you made in private will stay in private until you reactivate the account. So people cannot simply just go in. The second you stop paying, poof, it's open to the market. That is not how it works. And I can see why they did that. Okay, so right here, so this is kind of one of the better ones. I believe I went with this one. I think it was one of these. Anyway, so this is what I did. I decided to go, you know what? I already have my images on there. Let me see how this looks. And I had to go back to the original one over here. I believe it was this one that I used. It's kind of, there's no good way to bookmark which one I used, but I believe it was this one right here. It was either this one. Yeah, I believe it's this one or this one. No, it's this one because this one doesn't have a hole. So I went back in and I told it, hey, textured it. Okay, not so bad, but a couple problems right here. I was trying to create a model for 3D printing. And right out the bat, I'm seeing that there's no way I can use this for 3D printing, even as a test, because I'm looking at the mesh. This mesh is messy. Those of you guys for 3D printers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a little too messy. It will require a lot of support because, as you can see, he's on a leg, so I will have to put him on a stand. I will have to literally export this to a third-party software to add a stand. And then look at the mouth. The mouth is completely crazy. Like, the texture is all over the place. It's really hard to kind of like, it's a nice try, and it did a pretty good job for about 2 minutes worth of work, but as you can see, it is not right out of the box. So let me show you how this right here. So here you have the basic transition of the model. You can see what it looked like before and after. Then you also have, this is the plain model right here. You can see it's got like that floating sphere in there. There's some extra like something in there. I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to be. But it got most of the model of the image okay, but it requires some cleanup, and that's something that you just simply cannot do within the software. This is pretty much just the texture right there, and this right here is with their built-in lighting. So all in all, not so bad. Now, I'm sitting here and I'm going, well, maybe this thing just cannot handle organics very well. Even though it's advertised like, oh yeah, you could do some organics. I'm going, okay, maybe my organics does not work well for this. So let me try something else. So from here, I went ahead and I went into Captain Hobbes' ship. And some of you guys might remember this from, like, I think I did a video on this when I was this is from a while ago. And yeah, so see, 12/23/2022, I was designing the ship for Captain Hobbes, and I was trying to just lock down the design, what this looks like from top to the side. So at the time, these tools did not exist. So I was trying to prep for onboarding a 3D modeler in, or me modeling it myself. So I had my plane so I can use that as a reference. Okay, so from that, I went ahead and I did just some basic exports. I went back in using it, and I simply like hand drew it, added some color. You can see very straightforward stuff that you see in basic 3D production. So I brought that in, and here is the result. And I don't know how to feel about it. I couldn't figure out at first what I was doing wrong. I eventually figured out what I did wrong. But as you can see, it doesn't understand that the like right here on the first one, this is the closest we got where they got most of the ship correctly. But as you could see, like it has the thrusters, but it doesn't understand that there's an additional thruster back here as well. As it continued to render this, it seems to have gotten a little worse. Like it added like these little box things right here. I don't know what they were at. This one's the worst by far, and same thing goes with this one. Okay, so I tried it again and it got worse. So at this point, I am assuming that 2D, and this is all within one day. I just dedicated my day to experiment with this tool, and it had some issues. And when you're doing your model, and I'll probably try to show you guys here in a little bit. Now I tried it again. So here's what ended up happening. So right here, when you upload on Meshi 5, it allows you to also do a multi-view where you do like the original pose and for additional images to provide to the platform so that way it can model your object. So these two right here, these 1, 2, 3, had the multi-view on it. This one, I just put one view and it gave me this. It's just not working. It just was not working. There was no good way about it. So I'm like, okay, cool beans. Let me try something else. So from there, I went back to the original concept art I did of Scully. This is back from 2019. Okay, so now we're talking almost 6 years ago. This is when we were transitioning from the original design. I just onboarded onto the team, and we were just kind of figuring out what the updated version of these characters will look like. So I went and I grabbed that, and I started doing a 3-point turn of the character. I didn't do anything crazy. You can see there's a lot of my rough pencil lines in there because you see them constantly advertising, grab any sketch, put it in. I was like, this is perfect. It is a sketch. I can simply put it in. I can figure out what happened. So there's the front view, there's the side view, and there should be a back view as well. You see 1, 2, 3, and I cleaned it out as best as I could, but I wanted to keep that rough look because some of you guys know I still do a lot of like hand-drawn stuff on it, so I want to see what it could handle, right? So I brought that in, and the first time I brought it in, I wanted it to do an AT pose or a T pose. So some people call it A pose, other people call it T pose, and this is normal in video games. You see the character standing just side by side with a relaxed arm, and then you go ahead and you rig it from there. This was my first result, and I don't know why AI does not understand. Even though I provided the image, it keeps adding a tail. Gemini does it, Meshi does it, Adobe Firefly does it. I will even tell it no tail, and it will put a freaking tail on it. It is infuriating because I provided the prompt and I provide the resource, and it still decides to think that it's smarter than the designer, and it puts it in there. So if any of you AI folks are watching this, please train your AI not to put tails on things, especially when you're saying no tails. No tails. Holy crap. Anyway, so as you can see, this came out. This is really, 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 really rough. Holy crap, this is really rough. Okay, so again, I'm still experimenting at this point. So I'm going to go back over here. And I went ahead, okay, maybe the T-pose doesn't work. So I ran that one more time. And I was looking through some of these models, and I'm going, this is really rough. Like, this is like if I'm doing something out of clay, you could tell this is using triangles at this point instead of like, square planes. So I was like, this doesn't work. It's adding stuff to the back right here, like a backpack. So it just does not work, even with me providing the multi-view. So I decided at this point to switch between the V5 to the V4 or the Meshi 4, so that way I can see what it does. And as you can see with a single image, it was a lot closer. So you can see it's a lot smoother, not a problem. However, still adding a tail. Don't know what adds a tail, it's just adding a tail. So I went ahead and I grabbed this bad boy right here. This was the best one out of all of them. And I added and I asked it to texture it. Okay? Right out of the bat, here's a problem. You're starting to see that all the thick outline that I did here, is showing up right here on the side. So from the original drawing, and this took me a while to figure it out, okay? So I should not, and I'll get to my point. But anyway, if you have thick black outline on the inputs you give, it's going to put these really thick outlines on your character. And there's no way to remove this or modify the textures. Here, I'll show you. So if I go back over here, this is from the original drawing that I did, which is vector line, by the way. You can see right there. Let me see if I can get, oh, there's a way to view the texture. There is right here, there is the actual albedo, roughness. So this right here is how rough it is. And then right here is the, what is this one right here? Metallic. Okay, so this is just different textures. There is a way to view the, God, where is it? I did it the other day and I can't find it now. Let me see. Texture edit. AI texture edit. Yeah, so this is the stuff I'm still learning here, and anyway, I was able to unfold this, and it was not pretty. I'll leave it at that. Let me see if I can do it one more time. There we go. So there's the texture view right here. Look at this texture view. Like, if any of you guys ever done 3D modeling texture, you're looking at this and you're going, "Oh my God, what is that? What is that?" Unwrapped texture map or UV mapping, it does not look like this. This is horrifying, completely horrifying. So you might be better off just kind of starting with a rough model here, going back to your software, clean it up a little bit, and then just do whatever you do. And to be honest, unless it's a standalone, by the time you're done with the cleaning, you were probably better off just building it from scratch anyway, whatever platform you're using. But again, that is my opinion. I used to do 3D modeling. I do not consider myself a 3D modeler by any means of the imagination anymore. Because it's been so long and the technology has updated so much. So I still know and understand the basics, but it is not. 3D has never been my cup of tea. Anyway, so here's that, and then here's this one right here. So this one's a little bit more tolerable. So the face is together instead of one eyeball here, one over there. So that's not too bad, but yeah, so this is kind of crazy, right? So I'm sitting here and I'm going, I even tried the texture modifying tools, and I could not get these to go away. So at this point, I kept thinking, it's like, okay, well, let me try a different model. You can see I tried it again. At this point, the little swooshes that's right here in front of his face, it doesn't know how to deal with it. So it's either really flat, which you can see it right here. So it has to be part of the face, or it just, yeah, and it's very frustrating. You can see right here, there's, yeah. So this one kind of did it overlapping. This one, not so much. So if you're designing something for Meshi, be mindful of your design if you're going to be using this as your primary tool, because it doesn't understand complex overlapping things. And I'll show you guys a version of Scully that I did using solely AI tools, and you're going to see the night and day difference of how it renders it here shortly. Okay, so right here, I continue to experiment with different things. So there's something right here that when you upload an image, multiple images, says to generate multi-view. And right here, it even explains to you, please upload 3 images. You click on it, and what it does is it picks certain elements, and what it was doing is it was picking up the yellow and the 3D model in it. So it ended up with this, whatever this is, and so it was not good. So now that you guys have seen it, I can delete this because I don't really want this in here anymore. I also try to go back and run it one more time, and as you can see, the more I ran it, the worse it got. So that's something, for you to keep in mind as you go through. Okay, so I decided to go back to this model right here. However, when I ran this, so I ran this one more time, instead of using this, I came up with a second set of, because I'm thinking at this point, well, maybe I cannot have lines on here, right? So you can see it's the same character, but I removed the bold lines around it, and it's just these shapes. So I ran that. So here is the end result. Okay, so a little bit cleaner, not so bad. Again, don't know why it's putting the tail in there. It's just go with it. Okay, so not so bad, but there's still a couple things that I would like to clean. And then if I open the map, it's whatever this is. It's horrifying is what it is. But anyway, so it looks a little bit cleaner. So that compared to that, that is a big difference between both of these characters. Now, I'm sitting here at this point and I'm trying to figure out why is it that in the first one, because all I did was show it was just a little vector image that I brought in. Let me go back over here. Okay, so this is the vector image that I brought in. Why is it that it responded in a nice clean way to this, but then when I try to do the hand drawn, it gave me this? I couldn't figure it out unless I erased it. So I go, you know what? Let me run a little experiment. So I went to Gemini and I uploaded this photo and I asked Gemini to go, hey, describe me the image that you see here. Okay, it's pretty much I just ran a prompt and I gave some basics, you know, this is the character from space, blah, blah, blah. And then I ran it. So right here, I grabbed the description that it provided, including the additional details that it provided for me. So a dynamically full color illustration of a white cartoon feline character with bright yellow markings on the head, ears, and legs. The character is leaping or running while excited expression featuring white or sprawling black eyes and big open smile showing teeth. It has a small nose, visible pink inner ears, and a pink paw pad in its raised hand, which has 4 visible digits. The character wears a yellow outfit with a darker yellow belt and silver or light gray undershirt or collar detail. A small style emblem, possibly a shield shape with a central design, is visible on the chest of the yellow outfit. The style is clean with bold black outlines, bright solid colors conveying a sense of fun and action. Key elements to consider including your own prompt, blah, blah, blah. So right here, it gave me that. Species, cat, feline, etc., even if it's style. Color, white, yellow, black, pink, silver, gray. Expression, excited, cheerful, enthusiastic. Post action, leap, running, blah, blah, blah. So you kind of get the idea. This is why I wanted to see if machine to machine worked better than people to machine. Because let's be honest, people don't talk like this. We don't talk like this at all. This is why they tell you that anytime, especially, and I will tell you this myself, when you're dealing with an AI prompt where you have a limited amount of assets, which in this case will be your token, and you're trying to get specific, take the long route, run your character through another software. Like Gemini is great because yes, I do have tokens on it, but it's mostly get absorbed, not even on the image generation. It's when I'm using Flow. But for this is perfect because I can have it. Here's my drawing. Please describe it back to me the way a robot would describe it. Please, right here, once this was done, I asked it, can you please show me what this looks like? This is what it generated. This is what I provided. This is what generated. Not too bad, right? So then I asked it again. I told it again to do the same thing. I said that this time I put no tail right there. I had to tell it no tail because otherwise it just puts tail. So it generated this one. A little closer, not the style that I had, but you know, you guys kind of get the idea. Okay? Now, from here I told it, you know, it gave me this and it generated all this thing. It even gave me a name that I didn't ask for, you know, like here's Blaze and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, good for you, buddy. It's Sergeant Scully. Go pound Sam. Anyway, so from that, I asked it to generate a 3-point character turn of this character. And you can see right here, it generated this. And again, this is the one biggest problem you're going to have with AI when you are creating content. It's great for a one shot. It is extremely hard to do continuity. That's where most of your time is going to be absorbed. Just trying to get that continuity locked in so that way the characters stay consistent. If your character's changing the sign every single time, unless that was done purposely, like, you know, when you have like animation collabs, then that works. But it's disorienting to watch an entire show where the character style is changing. It just doesn't work. So this is as close as I was going to get. So I go, you know what? That's fine. So I went ahead, I went back over here, and And I simply grabbed that image and I divided it into 3 points. I didn't even make it a PNG, just simply the same image, broke it down to 3 photos, right? So then I went back over here. I'm not going to delete that anymore. Or that. I'm going to keep that up. Okay, so I went and I simply provided the model. And this is on 4, actually 5, Meshi 5. I did the multi-screen, so I provided one. I did not do T-pose. I simply just provided it. Okay, so this is what I did. So out of all these, the best one was this one up here. So I asked it to texture it. Again, this is another 10 icon. And as you can see, notice how when you go to the original design here, especially when it comes to the hair, you don't want things that heavily overlap. It just cannot handle that yet. And I'm going to keep playing with this to see if I can keep it so it shows the 3 little things that's part of like Scully's signature, but I cannot have it overlap in the head, so it's probably going to look more like a mohawk. But again, it's just trying to deal with how to keep your character consistent. So you can see this is a much better styling than when I did mine. Okay. Now, here's the one thing that's funky. So from the front view, we can see right here, there's the feet. But when you look at it right here, that looks very funky. Okay. So from here, I wanted to test out some of the animation capability. And this is where, right out of the bat, even though I'm dealing with AI to AI, I will highly suggest if you're doing any animation for this, make sure that you have a T-point and T-pose drawing, because as you can see, this is just a 3-point turnaround. It is not. It's kind of like a T-pose, but I didn't realize before I animated it that the arms were attached to the body. So this was the end result of the animation. So after I rigged it in here, and they have tons of videos how to do this. It's actually not that hard. This is not a how-to video. This is my experience video. It's more like it. Not too bad for the animation stuff. Let me see if I can get add animations. Okay, so right at the bat, the default's going to be the walking. However, here's what happens when I'll try to add like squats. So even though I have a rig point in the shoulder, in the elbow, and the hands, when I try to do some of these, because it's not separated from the body, it causes some distortion. So there is no good weights on here to weight it out, so that weight doesn't affect part of the bodies and others. So yeah, just food for thought if you're thinking that, oh, I'm just going to use this and I'm going to animate everything in here. Do I have news for you? Okay, but for a couple minutes, it's not bad. Is it grandiose? Absolutely not. And it just gets funnier. The good part is that the animation, they don't charge you. You could change this as much as you want. It gets goofier, especially if you don't have a T-pose character. Especially this one. This one, like his arms are glued to him, so he's not doing too hot. So let's try this. Bro, no. Inappropriate. What are we doing here? That's inappropriate. Stop it, sir. Stop it. That's what the. You know what? Let me see if I can get walk. That's completely inappropriate, sir. Anyway, let me head back over here. That's actually pretty funny. Okay, so I went back. I wanted to test out this model right here. So I figured this one, after I tested this one, I go, well, this one has separation in the arm and the leg. So I went ahead and I animated this one. And again, very simple. The rigging, you have ankles, knees, like groin, and then you have shoulder, elbows, wrist, and then you have the head. Now, they do not have facial rigging on here yet. But, you know, like I said, if you are doing background incidentals or things that don't involve a lot of animation, they do have bipedal and quadruped animation, such as cats and stuff like that. So that's already nested within the platform. But if you're looking for full facial animation, you're probably better off just grabbing this, exporting it, cleaning it, and going to a third-party software to do the animation and stuff. You're not going to get it right out of the bat. This is just down and dirty. So this one wasn't too bad. This got a little bit more, more function. But here, let me show you some of these other ones in here. Now, keep in mind, this character has a huge head. So some of this stuff's going to look kind of funny. He's flopping right through the ground. So it's fun. I mean, it's fun. It's not too bad. Let me see what it does for this one. Okay. Again, that's also another problem that you have no way of telling it, hey, do not go and clip through the ground. This person gave himself a concussion. So anything too dramatic with these characters, that will not work. Don't mind me if I feel kind of tired. I said I do a lot of these things. Let me pick something else. Oh my god, I gotta find out what this one does. Okay, he's breakdancing. Is he gonna clip through the ground? Yes, yes, he is. Yeah, don't mind me, guys. This is how I entertain myself. This is how I learn a lot of this stuff. So, what is my honest assessment on Meshi? Now, keep in mind that I tried right now. This is just me getting my toe in the kiddie pool. And like I said, I am going to continue experimenting with this because I still think I can get it to work. This is why I only wanted a monthly subscription. I didn't want the yearly subscription. I am going to experiment with this probably for the rest of this month. And those advancements are probably, like I said, this is just me kind of showing you what I'm doing, what I'm experimenting. I'm not doing anything production-wise, but this is what I've encountered. They do have some resources in here, but I got to tell you, the resources here are not very good. They're just kind of collected a ton of sources from random YouTubers, slapped it in here. A lot of these are not even in English. I think Korean, Russian, all kinds of stuff. And most of them cover pretty much the same thing. So the resources are kind of lagging. And I understand they're trying to do this as low possible, like, no cost to them for the tutorials. They're like, let's just make it open source. That's pretty much what this is. This is mostly open source. So they're relying on their fans to put all the stuff out. And yeah, so I'm still digging through some of these, but again, there's possibility in here, but it takes a while to get there. It's just kind of like I'm doing with like Flow and all these other ones. There is a huge, learning curve to get to. So you won't be able to just come in and say, I'm going to make my game. No, you're probably going to spend a month or two, probably 2,000 or 3,000 tokens just trying to grasp what this thing can and cannot do to figure out your production flow and then go from there. Especially, it's going to be different if you're using this for 3D printing. That was my original experiment. I wanted to get my character in here, generate a 3D model, give it to my fiance and 3D print it. And that seems to be under delay until I can get a clean enough model for so his 3D printer can handle it. Because as of now, what I got, he just cannot handle what I have. So let me see what else. So what is my honest review? This is a really fun software to play with. It's a fun software to play with. Can it be used for production? Absolutely. Do you need to have patience? Yes. So is it easy to use? Yes and no. If you're just fiddling with it and you're just like, oh, I'm just make me a Terminator. Okay, cool. And you don't have any fixed like assets. You're just kind of literally pulling stuff out of thin air. Then you're gonna have, that's like the easy path. If you're building it all from like text to 3D and then going from there, that's fine. If you're taking the route that I'm taking, where you already have, again, 3D made or just assets that you're trying to keep the continuity through an entire storytelling process, it's not going to be as cut and straight as you think it will be. The other thing is when it comes to controls, and I really wish, and like I said, this is still a work in progress. I wish there would be a way to either, once the model is generated, that you could tell it to smooth it out. There, at this moment, that you're literally at the mercy of, here is some pictures, here is some tokens, and it just gives you what it gives you, and that's it. You have no additional control of how you can manipulate this character. So you can see it gives you 4 versions, but you have no way to further manipulate this item within the platform. You will have to download the model, and you will have to go to a third party. Possibly if you're low budget like me, I started with Blender, so maybe Blender would be an option. If you have real money, you'll probably be using Maya. But if you're using Maya, you're probably not using this. I'm going to be straight honest. Maya is the bougiest software in town. Oh, I know because I used it. I remember it was like 7 to 8 grand per license back in the day. Anyway, reminiscing. Sorry, my crow's feet just show there, kids. But anyway, when it comes to the texture, it's the same thing. It textures it for you. You have no control. And even if you go to texture edit, right here, these tools are not very clear. Like I even experimented where I highlighted the area where I wanted to fix it. First of all, hold on, I need to stop doing this. Let me go. You gotta move it to the view that you want, and then you do texture. Once you're in here, you cannot fix it. So I even went in here. I selected this right here, this area right here, and I said, turn this texture into pure white. And I try to retexture it, and it gives you like this sub. So this is going to require another learning curve in here. It's really weird. It gives you 3 options, but as you can see, it cannot just fully get rid of that because it's using the texture that I provided, and because the line was too thick, it's still adding the black in there. I just wish there was a way where I could just grab like a paintbrush and go paint, and literally fix it like in ZBrush or anything like that, where you could just kind of like, just paint the textures on there. I just want to fix the texture map. I think that would be so awesome if I could just do that, and I can't, and it drives me bonkers that I cannot do that. And yeah, that's probably my other complaint. Yes, I do want to save the changes. So far, when it comes to the organic characters, out of 5, I'm gonna give it maybe 2.5. Because the models come out very dirty. They require a lot of cleanup, and same thing goes to the texture. Unless you know right at the bat you need thick lining versus really thin vector lining, because this is the level of liner it needs. You can do a sketch, and they'll show you people doing sketches, but even then, when you actually really look at their model versus what they drew, a lot of detail goes missing, so you still will have to go to a third-party application to get the modifications you need to. Okay. When it comes to non-organic, so trying out, the only experience that I have is the ship. I'm gonna give it 1 out of 5. As you saw, that was fairly clean what I gave it, and it still could not understand what I was telling it. So again, but my opinion might change as I go through. I do still want to continue and test it. I figured maybe it doesn't work for the characters. Maybe it doesn't work for commonly engaging things, but maybe it might work for creating 2D backgrounds. As you guys know, I'm already using AI to create some of these backgrounds. So my next experiment is going to be grabbing the backgrounds that I created from the AI project that I did last time, running it through here and see what it does or how it behaves. So there is quite a bit of a learning curve that goes into this. It is not straightforward to the point. Once you have it down, and I can confirm this, once I had it down in my last project, I got faster at it. But until you can nail it down and figure out how the algorithm really works, it is a pain and it is an uphill battle. So as of today, right now, and this is across almost all the AI tools, if you're doing a one shot, something that doesn't continue, you are gravy. If you're dealing with continuity issues, you will have to bring third-party tools, and you have to be very patient so that way you can keep that continuity doing. As for Meshi, as for performance today, I personally, for what I am doing, and this is my opinion, I'm not gonna sit here and say, Meshi sucks, blah blah blah. No, for what I am doing, which is a animated short project where I was hoping to build 3D background assets that I can recycle with my 2D characters, for right now, I'm gonna give it a soft 2 out of 5. Mostly because again, there's a lot of lack of controls. It is kind of like a skipping stone, but if you know anything about like this, and this is going back, God, like 10 years ago, where you have like 3D Turbo Squid, 3D Total, and any of these web pages where you buy pre-made models and then you download it into Maya. And what ended up happening is you're like, oh, I'm going to cut corners by paying $25 for a Ferrari model, whatever it was. And then when you open the file up and you look at the modeling, it was either triangles, it wasn't like the nice square. And by the time you spend the time fixing the darn thing, might as well just built it from scratch. It was just not a good experience. And I think this is similar to this. You get what you pay for. This is only $20 for me to experiment with, easily made products. So 3D artists, do not fret. You still got time. Uh, and like I told most of you guys, I'm using AI tools because right now it's an army of me. What I hope in the future is that I can get enough interest in the project and enough funding and support that I can get this off the ground and I can actually get people involved other than myself. But right now, I am literally on a no budget or shoestring budget, like barely a shoestring, half a shoestring budget. So I'm kind of trying to make content with what I have access to, experiment with, and just trying to build it from there. And is it perfect? Absolutely not, but it's a step in the right direction. So again, Meshi for me, a soft 2 out of 5. Like I said, now I am also aware that this software is in its infancy. There are not many that can do this yet. There are a few out there, but this is the one that is mostly broadly advertised. And it is in its infancy, and it's not until they get inputs like me, people telling them, hey, this is what I think, this is what is lacking, this is what I'm doing. If they don't hear those inputs, they're not going to be able to improve this software. And definitely, I just wish they will invest more in their resources. They do have documentation, but again, if you ever, you go to these quick starts and, you have authentication, you have all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Text to 3D, this is extremely basic stuff. Like, give you a little bit of coding and all that stuff, but it's nothing that is very engaging, or it's just a white paper. It's like the bare minimum white paper. I am not impressed by the resources either. I think there's something else that kind of bothers me. Like, I understand that it's open source, but, it's good to actually have some in-house documentation of how your software works, especially if you're pushing it to the masses. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, guys, I believe it's been about an hour. I appreciate you guys joining me through this journey, through this process. Again, I am going to continue pushing through the Astrocats content. I'm going to continue experimenting with these 3D tools. And like I said, I hope you guys, you're there to support us. Like I said, we appreciate you guys being so patient with us. Oh my God, thank you for being so patient with us through COVID, through everything, through the staff changes. And yeah, I appreciate those of you guys who have supported us this entire time. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I'm just kind of running out of words to say. But anyway, guys, till next time, please support the channel. Please like us, subscribe, follow us in some of the other channels. That really does help us to kind of spread the word out of the Astrocats, Captain Hobbes and the Astrocats. And until next time, I'll see you, and y'all take care. Peace.